Hey, and welcome to the podcast. This is Fan the Flames for the first week of January 2019. Happy New Year, Nate.
Happy New Year, Dan.
Yes, and we are starting a new year on a good note. But before that, let me just indulge you with a past experience. When I was quite young, in the school system, I think first grade or something like that, we were asked to make a pamphlet, a brochure of anything we want, create our own world, and come one of those like tourist brochures, welcome, check this out. And my idea was the world of hockey, or a world where you had to skate everywhere. I think it was in French, so it was La Planète de Hockey.
I would like that place.
It was really cool. In my mind, I imagined that you just skated. There's no cars, nothing like that. Anywhere you had to go, you had to skate. And that inevitably meant some variations of terrain. And in my neighborhood, my dream has come to reality. This is basically what we're living with. Except for they covered all that nice flowing ice with rocks.
So you're saying you could have skated everywhere if they didn't throw the rocks?
Yes, but since not everyone has skates, there'd probably be a lot of broken hips too.
Yeah, and the ice would be a little uneven as well. But I've thought about that too when I was a kid. I would always think it'd be so great if I could wake up in the morning, strap on some skates, and go to school. Yeah,
it would be so cool. And the closest thing I heard of to like a variation of slope to ice is the Red Bull crashed ice.
Yeah, I've seen that. They go down.
They go ups and downs.
But it's on what's it called? Where you send not the luge, but the other one, bobsled. They go down a bobsled track.
No,
yes,
it's too narrow.
They do it.
Man, that's crazy.
But another close thing is in Amsterdam. With the canals.
No, but I'm talking variation, like uphills and downhills.
Like an obstacle course.
Yeah. So if it's a natural body of water that's frozen, it's going to be flat. It's going to be man-made. Or in our case, it's made by nature by just not clearing snow. It melts and then freeze. And then you have a nice sheet of ice. But then gets covered with the rocks. All right. All this to say of our love for hockey came at a young age. Nate, how was your New Year?
It was pretty good. What about you? Did you party or anything? Or
kept it pretty relaxed. We got the new dog, so we just made sure he didn't freak out when all the fireworks went off.
Yeah,
you played pretty cool.
I ended up going to a party, and me and my girlfriend, before we went, we cooked a cake. You know, it's nice to bring something.
What kind of cake?
Carrot cake, actually.
Oh, that's a delicious cake.
You know, I do have some issues with carrot cake.
Do tell.
Well, it's the only dessert where you put a vegetable inside of it.
The only one?
Can you think of any other cakes or cookies that have vegetables in them?
Do you count a pumpkin as
That's a melon, isn't it?
I'm not sure. Seeds are on the inside? Yeah, it sounds like a melon.
And then some people will always say, hey, what about banana bread? But that's a fruit.
Yes, a delicious one too.
Yeah. But anyways, we cooked this carrot cake, and you know, we had like a pie, I don't know what you call it, kind of a tray.
Tin?
Not a tin. It's a permanent one. So before we left, my girlfriend said, oh, we should take it out of this form and put it on a plate. The only plate that fit was my favorite plate for frozen pizza. It has a nice logo of my favorite frozen pizza brand.
A frozen pizza plate.
Yeah, and every time I sit down to like watch hockey, not every time I watch hockey, but when I make the pizza, I use this plate, and often I'm watching hockey or something nice, and you know, it's the perfect size plate for the pizza.
That's key to any hockey watching.
So we go to the New Year's party, drop off the cake. It only gets about half eaten. Pretty delicious cake, though. And when we're leaving, you know, I said to my girlfriend, like, hey, what about my plate? She's like, well, we can't take the plate because the cake's on it. And we can't renege on the cake. So I was forced to leave the plate behind at this party.
You could have done a transfer of plates.
My girlfriend said we just leave it. Like, the social... the move socially is to just leave the plate.
Perhaps she was embarrassed by your pizza plate.
Maybe.
Did not want, this was her way of not ever seeing it again.
Well, when we left the party, she said, say goodbye to your plate. You'll never see that again.
That was her hopes. Well, you could get it back. It's not unheard of. I mean, you left some Tupperware at my place.
Yeah, but we see each other at least once a week. So that's my problem now is I don't know anyone's phone number from that party. It was all her friends. I don't have any social interaction with any of those people. It's totally up to her. And she only sees these people like maximum quarterly. So It's a pretty long time between interactions.
Yeah, it could be a problem. You'll just have to keep a good memory of this, and when you hear her interacting with this friend, it's the first thing you bring up. Exactly. And you constantly bring it up.
We have to be proactive.
Stick with it. That's right. You gotta nag away, get that plate back.
So what are the odds you think that I actually get this plate back?
Well, it depends how you play it. I mean, if you stick with it, play hard for the next half of the season, you're definitely gonna get back.
So you think if I'm diligent, it's 100%?
That's right. If you're diligent, if you're focused, if you got some purple Gatorade on the bench, I think you can get back.
Okay. I'm glad you have confidence that I'll see my plate again.
Hey, it's a love plate. You said so yourself. This is your pizza plate. This means something to you, so you gotta put the work in.
And speaking of the purple drink, for the next few months, I'm going to have to watch the Flames without my pizza plate.
Yeah.
Which is disappointing because it's been so exciting watching the Flames recently.
That it has.
And by the way, that's probably our best segue ever on a podcast.
Hopefully there'll be more to come. But getting back to the Flames hockey interesting equals.
Cocksucker played it so well.
I agree wholeheartedly. This is also a great time to be a podcaster about the Flames because basically all we talk about is how awesome our team is doing.
Yeah, and they can score in bundles, and we seen that again last night.
Yeah,
even though they lost the games, was it 6-4 the final?
Yeah, to Boston.
Yeah, even though they lost 6-4, there was a lot of offense.
Yeah, it was a game they could have won if there wasn't so many soft goals. Is that what I guess this is where we're going to start?
Yeah, I agree. If we're going to summarize the game in one sentence,
yeah,
it's too many soft goals from Smith cost us.
Yeah, which is hard to. I mean, it's kind of Smith's MO for this season, and it looks like he's kind of been relegated to the second tier behind Riddick, who might be injured. He is injured with the LBI.
Yeah, lower body injury.
Someone get that guy a body.
But are we at a point now, because earlier in the season, the conversation was always, how do we get Mike Smith to find his game again? What's wrong with Mike Smith? And now are we at the point where we've accepted this is who he is?
It feels like this. We've accepted it, and also I feel that Smith is playing at an average backup goal performance. His numbers kind of speak pretty well to his play. His wins, goals against, and save percentage, I think it's around 8.8, which is not great numbers, but he's not making great saves all the time. He's laying in soft goals. That number of flexes. He has wins. I think his wins are 8 and 11 and 8 or 8 and 11.
Right, but I don't know his record actually. I have no idea. But the wins he's getting is the Flames are outscoring the problems.
Yeah. The wins he's getting is him doing just enough to make sure that they win.
Yeah, and we can basically count on at least one soft goal every game.
Yeah.
And like against Boston, I think we could say there's 2.
Yes.
And the real backbreaker was in the third period. I think it was 4-3 at the time.
Yeah.
And he opened up the 5-hole like
brusque.
Yeah, it was slid through a 5-hole that was bigger than the net.
Yeah. That 5-hole was bigger than that net. No, but the game before, he did just enough to topple Detroit. Made the key saves. Soft goals are a thing of Mike Smith, but I'm going to take it to his positive side. His puck handling is awesome. Creates breakouts, creates chances. I mean, he almost got an assist.
Yeah, when he passed it up to Ryan, and then Ryan fed it over to Neil.
Yeah. See, that one was Neil's fault.
Yeah. In some ways, Neil is like the forward edition of Mike Smith.
I see it. And basically, as Flames fans, we're sitting here hoping that they turn around. More so Neil than Smith, because like I said, I'm comfortable with Smith's play as a backup. I think Rick has earned and holding the first man job. So now if Neil can get that fire lit under him, and he's been close. That Winnipeg game was one of his better games by far. San Jose, he played strong. He scored in San Jose. Boston, man, he was fucking up all the time. It was hard to watch.
Well, I think the thing about Neil we have to keep in mind is, one, he's gone to the Stanley Cup Finals 2 years in a row. So he's had very short off seasons, a lot of wear and tear on the body. Maybe he's had some sort of Stanley Cup hangover, and he'll turn it around later in the season. The second thing about Neil is a back-to-back, he looks tired. Yeah. Like, even though he's only 30, he has a body that's a little bit older than 30 in that he can't handle the back-to-backs anymore.
No, he's not really a fast guy. Usually you can count on him for decent hands, but he's been missing passes, making some bad plays. I say that in the last 2 games, but San Jose, Winnipeg, he was playing strong.
Yeah, I agree. He's had some better performances lately, but it is...
Even in these strong games, he's got nothing to show.
Right, but it's also those games you mentioned, he gets some rest. Yeah. And that's sort of become the thing about Neil and Mike Smith, is you see a big difference in their performance when they're rested and when they're not.
Yeah. All right. Another way to translate, I guess, not freaking out or accepting the Neil and Smith problem is that a confidence of when you reach playoffs. Because we all know that 2 goaltenders will see a lot of work through a playoff run if it's a successful playoff run. And that's also been known when backup goaltenders can take over a series for a team. So let's not rule out that's an impossibility. I mean, maybe Smith is saving himself for playoffs. He's already thinking far ahead. And it could be the same with James Neal.
Yeah, they could be guys who get hot in the playoffs and make a difference. Yeah. But speaking of getting hot, probably the hottest player on the Flames the last 3 games.
Red hot.
Yeah, red hot is Johnny Hockey.
Johnny Hockey. Go, Johnny, go. That purple drink.
Yeah, I think against Boston he got 2 more points.
Yeah.
And he had 4 the game before that, 4 the game before that. So he had 10 points in 3 games, which is more points than Neil has the whole season. So
Johnny Hockey, he's worked himself up to 3rd on the all-time points board. He's got 61 points. He's leading Flames goals, 23 goals past Monahan.
3rd in this season's points?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's leading the Flames with both goals and assists.
And he scored your favorite goal.